very special equipment. Such equipment is known as a helicopter gunship. It appears to be very effective against the non-state actors, because with the state actors the situation is absolutely different. But present moment is really the period when non-state actors are more dangerous, more active, and they require special attention, and they require specially trained forces, for which purely conventional forces are not enough. These are not big numbers, but very highly trained people with a particular sophisticated equipment for striking and for following them, locating them, and striking them any time of the day.
In addition to the public statements, the U.S. military planners have also made covert moves. According to Defense Department documents and people involved in the project, the U.S. military is expanding its secret intelligence operations in Africa, establishing a network of small air bases to spy on terrorist hideouts from the fringes of the Sahara to jungle terrain along the equator. To further disguise the mission, the U.S. military has taken another unusual step. It has largely outsourced the spying operation to private contractors.
In June of 2010, the Africa Command participated in an industry day to drum up interest. More than 50 private contractors were invited to develop proposals to expand programs aimed at combating Al-Qaeda in Africa. Classified documents prepared for the event showed that the military wanted contractors to provide at least a combined 44 personnel for the programs, with double that number if the Africa Command decided to purge either one of them. At a minimum, contractors were told that they would have to keep planes flying for 150 hours a month. Among the jobs to be outsourced, pilots, sensor operators, intelligence analysts, mechanics, and linguists. The expectation was that the personnel would be veterans.
The contractors would have to supply the surveillance gear, including electro-optical and infrared sensors that work in the dark, and a laser-emitting sensor that can peer onto the jungle canopy. Everything had to be concealed within the body of the plane with retractable mounting to avoid attracting suspicion. Another document stipulated that prospective firms fly innocuous aircraft that would blend into the local operating area. In a PowerPoint presentation posted on a federal government website, the African Command warned firms bidding for the work that African countries would be uncomfortable with activities that might look suspicious, adding, "Don't want covert aircraft, just friendly-looking aircraft."
The practice of hiring private companies to spy on huge expanses of African territory does have its pluses and minuses. Unlike uniformed troops, plainclothes contractors are less likely to draw attention. But because the arm's length arrangement exists outside traditional channels, there is virtually no public scrutiny or oversight. And if something goes wrong, the U.S. government and its partners acknowledge that the contractors are largely on their own.
Peter Singer, a Brookings Institution senior fellow and an expert on military contracting, said the Pentagon typically turns to the private sector for deniability. But he added that it rarely turns out that way. He said, when things go bad, you can have two scenarios. Either the contractors are left holding the bag, complaining about abandonment, or else some kind of abuse happens and they're not held accountable because of a mix of unclear legal accountability and a lack of political will to do something about it.
Contractors knowledgeable about the Central African mission appear to be aware that the downing of one of their planes could have far-reaching implications. In response to U.S. Africa Command solicitation to expand operations, one defense firm wrote in May 2010, "From a purely political standpoint, it is obvious the fallout of such an incident would be immense, especially if hostile forces reach the crash site first. This could turn into a prisoner-hostage situation at worst, or a serious foreign relations incident, highly damaging to both AFRICOM and the United States."
Has plunged deep into a state of turmoil as the country no longer has a president, parliament, or constitution. As the North African country descends into a political crisis, one